What is happening, bunch builders? Welcome back to the channel and the Scrapyard Electric Rabbit Race Car Rescue. You'll remember in our last video, we got it going for the first time since being in that scrapyard since 1997. And in today's video, let's see if we can get it dialed in a bit more. Obviously, our last episode ended with the death of that Curtis controller. The second one that we tried, that did work for a little while, but it's time to go ahead and get this thing updated a little bit and try to make it a little bit more reliable. I think we could go through and potentially rebuild that original controller, but I did a little bit of research and I looked around a little bit, and what we ended up going with was a Kelly controller, which is actually made in China. It's really, really inexpensive. I mean, we got an entire setup for this car for the price of a used, refurbished Curtis controller, just like we had. And I looked up, I did a lot of research on it. The biggest thing was make sure you get the entire kit with the fans and everything, and to over voltage it, I guess you would say. So I ended up going with a 144 volt 600 amp over that original, what was it, 72 to 120 400 amp, just to make sure we know we're not going to have any voltage issues. And I did get the entire kit, so we basically, the only thing we have in play is our batteries. Everything else is brand new, has a 1-year warranty, and apparently they're really nice to work with. Let's see if this works. You can see this is the entire setup right here. It bolts right into place. Quick and easy, has the cooling fan. We will be putting a cover back on this, and I am going to put a couple big fans in here to keep this entire compartment cool, but this single fan right here will keep the controller itself cool. I did get this box for now, and I had to extend the cable so we could run it. It is hand throttle, has regen, I don't know all the stuff. This turns it on. We have our battery back in place. All you do is hook it up to the 12 volt positive, 12 volt negative. Here's our motor wire, our battery positive, motor negative, and battery negative. It has its own contactor and a pre-charge resistor in play, fuse, and everything you need. This just plugs in, controls everything. So I did pick up this throttle pedal right here. Get what you pay for. And I got to figure out how to wire this thing in. So that's something we'll have to figure out. But for the time being, I want to see if this thing works with what we have. Power switch on up there, and I say power switch, that's just the negative cable, and basically it's a cut-off kill to the motor. And then we have power right here. What do we got? Our green to go light is on. Little fan is running there. That's cute. Let's give it some throttle. There it is! Let's try to drive this thing again. We'll turn our main switch on that gives power to the motor. Then we'll turn on the power switch on the box. And then we have our throttle. As suggested before, we'll just be using second gear to take off. No clutch needed. And let's go. Man, that is just on or off. Wow. Little tire rub, third gear. 40. 45, 50, holy moly! Gravel! It is not a hot rod still, but it is so much fun, and it's so cool that it's completely silent. You know, we did have some loud motor noise at higher RPM there, but I think it, maybe just the brush is sticking a little bit. It seems like it's kind of smoothed out. And it is so much fun. Although I think the Euro bumper is a good look for this car and probably what we'll go back with. I do need to find another set because I think these are probably done for. So let's go ahead and get these pulled off of here. Now I know a lot of race cars run no bumpers. I used to be that way when I first started. with Volkswagens, race cars are also doing, but as far as just street cars, a lot of people used to not run bumpers. That was like the first thing you did in your first Mark 1 was pull the bumpers off. And then it is what I did. And then my mom backed into it in the driveway and just about totaled it with a little bump. So there's a reason 5-mile-per-hour bumpers are there, because even hits at 5 miles per hour will literally crush these poor little cars. I am going to put another set on there for the time being. Let's get them pulled off. It's 2 bolts on either side in the rear. They're easy to get to on the inside, and then 2 bolts on the inside up in here, which might be a little aggravating, but we'll get them off. Can't stand seeing the front of this thing look like this anymore. And here we go. Huge shout out to Harris, the gentleman that we got the intake for the 911 for. He actually hooked us up with this back when we were up there picking that intake up in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I think this front end's not very straight, but I think this will really set the front end of this car off. Good enough. I think we can put some, I should have clips, but I don't know if clips are going to hold on. We probably want to put some bolts on there. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Owie! I knew I was going to do that. There we go. These tails are definitely not the prettiest, but I did have some replacements in mustache. Nice. And you know we can't be rolling around in this exquisite piece of machinery on those stock wheels. I actually found these on Marketplace. These are Borbette Type H's, real Borbettes, made in Germany. Let me see, these are, yeah, 15 by 7 with a 25 offset. I think 35 is what you, maybe 25 is right. With almost a brand new set of, let's see, these are Dunlop Dorenza DZ102s. Had a pretty nice tread count on them. They were like 350, so not super sticky, not super soft, super sticky, but enough where we can drive it around. We get a decent tread wear, and we can push it around the corners a little bit when it comes track time. In the rears, you can still use your stock lug nuts. Because it catches 4 or 5 threads, which is perfect. I actually really dig the gray. It's obviously been painted. This would have originally been silver. I did order a new set of hubcaps. You see Volkswagen seat, Skoda Audi. So this is specific to this car. Borbette. Man, those look nice. I guess after we wash this thing, we should probably do the brakes, because that's always something you might want. Because you're actually bolting through the rotor, you have quite a bit of a step there. And when you try to use these original, these are like 39 millimeter, I think. This is a 12 by 1.5 thread. They're just way too short. Not way too short. They catch a couple threads, but it's really pushing it. So I went ahead and grabbed these 49 millimeter, so 10 millimeters longer, and those will do good. I just went, matched them up at the auto parts store, and those will be good, and these can go on other rabbits. Woo, a little thick. Took a little fender rolling though, and that looked pretty good. I don't know about y'all, but since we pulled this car out, I've been wanting to wash it. Let's do it. But I think it's time to burn through some magic erasers. Let's see what hides under the filth. I have a feeling it's just going to be more missing paint and rust, but yeah. Don't you love these things? You don't want to wash nice stuff with this because these are really abrasive, but I don't think this is going to hurt this paint. I'm sure you'll remember just how bad, well, I say shift bushings, there is no shift bushings. This shifter is to use. So our temporary solution, this is hinge pin bushing kit. This is only temporary, but of course if it works, it'll be permanent. We all know how that goes. And this is specifically the reason that we kind of threw this car together. So we're here in Helen, Georgia at Alpine Volks Fair. Now we're not done and we will finish this car up in the rest of this video, but we kind of wanted to get it thrown together so we could bring it out here. We're only an hour and a half from Helen and this is really a great event. Thanks, man. It's good to meet you. No horn? We're back, and I've got to say, what a ton of fun it was going down there to Helen, Georgia for Alpine Volks Fair. Really enjoyed it. It was great to meet a lot of you and be able to show the car. It was kind of last minute. You saw we kind of threw it together. The plan was to take the 911, and of course, we're behind on that car because we can't get parts in for it. A few things that we're waiting on, so this went instead. It's a really cool show. That wasn't actually the show itself. What it is an entire weekend with like 20 different meets that are vehicle oriented, and then on Saturday they actually have the show. But it was cool to be able to go down, be able to go to the Mark 1 meet, hang out with everyone, have a good time. We'll definitely be doing that again next year. Also, shout out to Mike from The Rabbit Hole for filming that little clip for us there at the meet. Be sure you go check his channel out. He does some really cool, specifically Mark 1 oriented videos. He's an extremely good filmer and an extremely good editor. He has some really cool stuff, so I'll put a link to his channel down in the description. Next thing here that I want to dig into and kind of try to attempt to do something with is make this fender at least a little prettier. I'll end up replacing it. Hopefully we can try to find some matching decals. We may end up restoring the whole car. For the time being, we kind of just want to get it dialed in, get it on the road, get it track ready, and be able to start enjoying it. I may go ahead and restore the interior, and then later on, we'll jump on the exterior of the car, because I feel like I did a questionnaire and everything on our Instagram, Budget Build YouTube, and most everybody said this car looks awesome just the way it is, and I really think so too. I hate to leave everything patinaed, but it tells their story, it really does. So I think for the time being, let's see if we can straighten that fender up a little bit. I will need to find a marker light here, and then I've got a few other things we're gonna try to dial in on this corner. Here is our Porta-Jack hydraulic body frame repair kit thing. This is a Harbor Freight special, and we can actually get in there and hopefully start spreading everything out. Crikeys. I don't know what I was thinking. That thing's crunchy. It was worth a try. And as you can see, beating it around, we've got it solid again. Like I said, you kind of pull it out and then kind of stretch the metal back over into place. But it's ugly, but I guess the whole car probably is as well. I could probably pull the fender off and get it a little straighter. This is an original fender, and if you know, you know, these things they body glue these on like you wouldn't believe. So if I pull it off, we're definitely gonna put a replacement on it. So I need to find a replacement. For the time being, one of the next steps I wanna go ahead and take with this, wow, there's about a pound of rust underneath this thing now. Is you noticed our offset. I like the offset on this car, but we need to make the fenders match just a little bit. And so what I'm going to attempt to do, sit my chunky butt down. So I bought a fender roller. I'm gonna throw heat on it, and what I'll do is measure the other side and measure off and get it just about where I think it needs to be to have it looking pretty good. That's better, I think. This paint's crispy. That was known. There's a whole bunch of paint and rust on the ground, but that's okay. Now, one thing I want to address, I do like these old Bilsteins. I think it's pretty cool that they have Bilsteins and this new speed springs and everything on it. But for some reason, this car sits low in the back and high in the front. I think it just kind of looks goofy. I don't think it's going to hurt it necessarily, but I want it to sit level at least. And with that being said, I at least want to put a set of coilovers on the front so we can match the rear. I don't want to completely slam this thing or anything. I want to be able to track and enjoy this car and drive it the way that it was meant to be driven. But I do want it to sit level instead of the way that it was. So I want to go ahead and pull these off. We'll set them to the side. They are clunking a little bit, so they're probably throwaway anyways. And it'll be nice to have a good set of, I say a good set, you know how coilovers ride, but this car's not about the ride. This car is about having fun. Come on! There we go. Out we go. What's nice is, because these are lowering springs, you can see how leaky that old shock is. There is no pressure on here, and so we don't have to... Oh my gosh! I wonder what the rating is on those. Spring has a little bit of pressure. I'm gonna go do something off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, just kidding. It didn't have any pressure. Better be safe than sorry. And actually use the right tool. That's what I went to get, you know, the correct tool for doing that, so. Terrible coilovers. We'll get our height set here. And then I'll snug up the lock ring. And let me measure it so I can match. 5 3/8. Text that to myself because I will forget here in the next 5 minutes. Beautiful. Still can get our hand up in there. Fitment looks really nice now. Like I said, still quite an aggressive tire. The car's not that low. Most of what makes it look low is just the size of this wheel being a 15-inch and where a 13 originally would have been. Tons of clearance though. Shout out to my friend Will for hooking us up. With another pretty nice front Euro bumper. I do still need to find one for the rear, but this will get us started. With our new badge, that replacement bumper cleaned up with the detail firm trim and tire care. With all of that, the front end of this car really is starting to tie together and look pretty good. Well, that is going to wrap it up for part 2 of this rescue. I really hope you all enjoyed. I feel like the car is handling a lot better with the way that it's sitting. I do want to put a little bit nicer set of coilovers on there so we can work a little bit on corner dialing the car and the camber and caster of it. That cheap set we put on there I really don't like, but we do have another car that those can go on. I feel like it's performing a lot better with that controller. It seems to be really happy. We do have some battery dissipation issues that's going on that I probably need to take care of. A lot of that probably has to do with those cheaper batteries, but it got us on the road and now we can start dialing the car in. The reason we haven't started just blowing the car apart and doing a full restoration at this point is I really do want to get it dialed in, get a good feel with the car, get it mechanically ready to go, probably take it and do some autocross or something, put it on the track a little bit, enjoy it some, and then I think down the road we may do that full restoration. But in our next episode we'll probably dial in the brakes a little bit better, maybe do some upgrades, and then I want to start restoring that interior. I have some really cool ideas for it. I am having a blast with this car and I hope you all are too. If you haven't already and you are enjoying what we have on this channel, all the weird quirky cars that we rescue, and restore, be sure to subscribe button, notification bell. And if you have been with us and are following along, we really do appreciate all the love and support. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.